So we don't know who the demigod in charge of projectors is, but we should do some puja now. As Nanda Maharaj was about to do puja to Lord Indra for rain, we needed to do puja now to the demigod of projectors and whatever else it is that requires for this program, this presentation to appear on the screen. Otherwise you will not see anything other than what you see now. And we just, what can we say, we just have to work without it, simple as that. But it will be less interactive, less easy to, well, there'll be a lot of things you won't be able to follow, simple as that. Om Jnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Shri there, it's on the screen. It's come up, let's see. You will need to, you must have done a good puja there. That was well done. I congratulate you all for that puja. Krishna didn't come to thwart it in this case. We have to turn off the lights, obviously. All the lights in this hall have to go off except for Prabhupada's. All the others have to go off. And now it has to be put into focus. It's not in focus right now, obviously. But the problem with this is that I can't control the screen at all. So it's going to be, I don't know how we're going to do that. I've got no idea. How am I going to arrange for what's on the screen to come on the screen? What's the answer to that one? Can you focus it, Mahananda? It's completely out of focus. It looks out of focus to me anyway. How will I control it?
So they have to put it in PDF.
Pardon?
They have to put it in PDF. It's not presentation. So they will have to do it out by hand.
Okay.
You have
Well,
to say when to go down.
Okay, so I have no control over it.
No.
So how are we going to do that?
You have to say next page, next page.
Can you hear me? I don't know.
Yes,
He's not
yes,
responded
yes,
so
yes.
far.
We can hear.
You can hear. So go forward. We're already jumping over. We're jumping over 10 slides. Go to number 11 if you've got such a thing on your screen. Oh, I see. It's in PDF. It's a little interesting way of doing things. With my flash drive, has he still got it? Keep going, I think. I don't know where you are, to be honest. Okay, stop. Maybe you can see it, maybe you can't. Let me see, where are we? Number 11. What have you got there? Number 11. Okay, number 12. Okay. Today is Govardhan Puja. Hari-o. And you can see hopefully you can see, this is a painting of little Krishna, who's 7 years old, and there's Nanda Maharaj, Nanda Baba on the right side there. So Krishna is addressing him, and this whole pastime starts off really at this point where Krishna decides, they've just returned, Krishna has just delivered the wives of the Brahmins. In the village there, if you have been there somewhere near Vrindavan, there's one village where Krishna delivered the wives of the Brahmins. And at that village was where Nanda Maharaj was proposing to perform the Indra Yajna. So they're still there, and they came there, and Krishna's there. So he has another idea, which we hear about later. So we move on. Next slide, please. Next one. Stop. Okay, that doesn't say much. It says, Shri Govardhan Pranam Mantras. Of course, the famous picture, you can't see it very well, I'm afraid, because this is not a PowerPoint or a keynote presentation, so the colors are very faint, and you can hardly make it out. But that's Krishna lifting Govardhan Hill, as you may have noticed. On the right side, there he is with all the residents under the hill. An incredible pastime. We'll hear a little bit more about that later on. And then next slide, please. And this doesn't really need to be there. Move forward. It is, because they're not PowerPoint. Go forward. One more slide. Okay, this is where we begin. I don't know if you can read a word of it. Can you read something? Because it's very, very clear on PowerPoint or on Keynote, but unfortunately we can't put it on that format. So please repeat with me, or after all together, okay? These are pranams, obeisances to Giriraj. So first of all, before we address these topics we have to offer at least our obeisances, our respects to the object of our worship. So all together. Namo Vrindavanakaya Tubhyam Golokamoline. All together. Purna Brahma Tapatraya Namo Govardhanaya Cha. Obeisances to you, who are Goloka's crown and the lap where Vrindavan forest grows. Obeisances to Govardhan Hill, the Supreme Personality of Godhead's parasol. That means if you don't know that English word, you probably do. It's like an umbrella. In other words, Govardhan was the protector from the rains of Indra, like a parasol. Nam, next one please. Next one. Namaste Girirajaya Shri Govardhana Namine Ashesha Klesha Nashaya Paramananda Dayane. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the King of all hills, Govardhan Hill, the source of enjoyment for the senses, land and cows. He is a servant of Krishna and is Krishna himself. What an amazing simultaneous one and different statement. He is a servant of Krishna and is Krishna himself. How do you make that one out? That sounds like a bit of a contradiction, doesn't it? Is that Mayavad philosophy or what? What is it? Krishna, the hill is Krishna and is also a servant of Krishna. But what does that mean? We'll give you a little heart clue. How sweet is devotional service? What is Krishna captured by? Devotion. Love. Pure devotion. Prema. That's why he appeared as Lord Chaitanya, is it not? He wanted to taste prema. The love of his devotees. He cannot taste it. How can you taste what your servant's tasting? You have to appear, or you have to be in their mood. It's a matter of the mood which one's in. The relationship. So Krishna takes the position or form, the mood of Radharani, and experiences that bliss of Radharani. So in a similar way, of course it's a different rasa, but in a similar way, rasa of service, the Lord takes the position of Govardhan Hill as him himself, and he's experiencing the ecstasy of serving himself. You know, when they're performing the Anakut ceremony of offering unlimited preparations to the hill, then Krishna, or Giriraj, manifested himself. On top of the hill you saw a form, we all know the form of Giriraj, standing on top of the hill, a giant form of the Lord, declaring that he himself, the Supreme Lord, is Govardhan. And Krishna himself stood there with the residents of Braj. He himself is offering his obeisances to himself. Quite amazing, huh? Such is the sweetness of devotion. Haridasa Varya. That will come up maybe in the next verse or so. That he is the topmost devotee also. Let's see where it comes in, I think maybe in the next verse. He puts an end to unlimited sufferings and bestows the supreme bliss. Prayo Bhakti Rastarnava. The supreme bliss, the nectar, the oceanic nectar of the praying of devotion. So he's experiencing that and sharing that with all of his devotees. This pastime is to awaken the many, many things. There's a very important verse in the Bhagavad Gita. Bhuktaram yagatapasam sarvaloka maheshwaram suridam sarvabhutanam kyatvamam shanti michati. How many of you know that verse? It's not on the screen, so don't try to see it up there. How many of you know it? The men are looking at me, the ladies are still staring at the screen bewildered. You know it. So what does it mean? People talk about peace, right? Peace, peace, we want peace, we want peace. How do we get peace? Who knows? Huh? Yeah, we said that already, but how do you get peace?
Keeping Krishna in the center and serving Krishna, then you get peace, otherwise no peace.
By understanding that Krishna is Bhuktaram Yagatapasam. All sacrifices should be offered to Krishna. That's why Krishna interfered with the yajna of Nanda Maharaj. Now, traditionally in Vrindavan, you may well know, that in many villages, towns, communities, there are traditions which you continue to perform to this very day, and I can't remember what it's called, but there's a ceremony today which is the sisters inviting their brothers or something to their home, and there's some kind of loving exchanges. These things go on. All these traditions go on in all religions and walks of life. Whether you believe it or not, whether you follow it or not, many people still continue to do these things without any knowledge why or what the real benefit, or even how to do it in many cases. It's just some kind of hangover of a tradition. So this is something of their lineage, their family tradition. That, Vrindavan, they're Vaishyas. Vaishyas depend on the land, right? They don't work in factories or on computers anymore. They used to, as they do now rather, they don't, how many of you are doing business? Anybody here businessmen? Most of you are IT probably. But anyone businessmen here? No businessmen at all? Nobody. Business women? No busy. You're busy, but God knows what with. But imagine if you're a businessman nowadays, does it mean you work in the field? You herd the cows? A real business, a Vaishya's real business is agriculture, cow protection, trade, money lending. This is their real business of a Vaishya. It's not working in a factory. That's God's Ugra karma. That's dreadful stuff. But a Vaishya is supposed to protect the land and the cows. So they depend on the rain. Without the rain, everybody knows there's a big problem. We're all going to die if there's no rain. It won't take long. We depend on rain. So they recognize, there's a goddess, there's a god of the rain, Indra. He's the lord of the rain and what have you, the various few things, but especially the rain. They pray to the Indra for rain, the regular rain, steady rain, so it comes at the right time, the right amount. So this is a regular thing, and it's like recognized. What's the problem? But Krishna said, no. He said, first of all, he asked his dad, what are you doing? What are you actually doing here? Just like we saw, because I can't operate it, and it's too complicated to go backwards and forwards, which I would have done otherwise. But it's, he said, what are you doing, Father? Can you please explain this to me? If you think I'm not qualified to hear it, actually, nothing should be kept secret amongst friends and family members. You should let me know what's going on. So his father briefly explained. He said, what's the point of this? What's the purpose of this? There's no point in this yajna. It has no real meaning. We have to finish in 30 minutes, so I have to move fast. So what's the point of this? What has Indra got to do with it? Let's face it. Okay, he provides rain, but what causes him to provide rain? It's their karma, isn't it? He's reciprocating with their karma, that's all. If you do good work, he has to do it. He has to reciprocate. He can't act whimsically just because he feels like it. That would be against the law. Just like if you're a government servant and you act whimsically and you just, somebody who's following the law, you send them a huge tax bill. And somebody who's not following the law, you send them a reward for breaking the law. Does it work like that? No. You reciprocate according to how much they're cooperating with the law. So similarly, Indra, demigods, they're all the same. They all have to do that. They have no independence. They have to respond according to our pious and impious activities. If we follow the Varnashram system, they have to reciprocate properly, right? We do our duty, do it properly, they have to give rain. Otherwise there's a real problem. What's he got to do with it? He's just like, you give the shopkeeper money, he gives you the product. Simple as that. It's not his whim, it's your choice. As long as you pay for it, you get what you want. You'll get what you deserve. So what's he got to do with it? Nothing at all. It's our work that counts. Even if they're God, so what? Same thing, isn't it? As they surrender to me, I reward them accordingly. So it depends on their work. Work is worship. He preached karma mimamsa philosophy, like many materialists do. And even on the spiritual path, many of them have. They may believe in the soul, but they don't believe in God, or they don't believe in a higher authority controlling everything. It's just a perpetual existence based upon piety and impiety. And life goes on like that. So he convinced his father, okay. Eventually he convinced him that we should do it. Actually, our real sustenance is based upon Govardhan Hill. Let's face it, as we just heard. It's like the bed on which, all the trees and all the forest and all the grass grows in Vrindavan. It's like the fountain, all the caves, the water comes down from there, the rivers. Jamuna used to flow right past there in those days. And all the cows graze on Govardhan Hill, not nowadays of course, but all these things were going on. And Govardhan Hill was really the center of their lives in terms of the environment, it was the most essential place. The cows and Govardhan Hill. We should worship the cows and the Brahmins. These three items, Brahmins, cows, and Govardhan Hill. We should worship these. What's the point of worshipping some demigod anyway? Or demigods. So why is Krishna doing this? It's pretty far out, isn't it? And Nanda Maharaj said, okay, we'll do that, but first let's do the Indra Puja. No, there's no time to waste. We have to start right away. Besides, Govardhan Puja requires a lot of paraphernalia, a lot of offerings. And what you've gathered here today, we must use to worship Govardhan. And Krishna's Krishna. Even though he was a 7-year-old kid, he was able to convince everyone. Everyone was just like bewildered by Krishna's mystical or transcendental, obviously he can persuade anything, he can bewilder anyone, he gets his way. Krishna always gets his way. So he was convincing. Now one of the reasons is Bhoktaram Yagatapasam, that he is the enjoyer, not Indra. Indra is thinking. Now there are 3 reasons, you could say at least 3, that he did this. One, and the primary one, was to fulfill the desire of all the residents of Vrindavan, to have loving relationships with all of them. And that will come up in a minute. Another one was because poor old Indra, he was, heaven, king of heaven. But sometimes when you get into power, some other things come along, don't they? You start getting a little puffed up. Indra was a little puffed up. Yeah? Right? A little puffed up. Very puffed up. He thought he was the king of heaven. He's the one who should be worshipped, my Indra Puja. And of course Krishna was, why is Krishna doing it? Does he not like Indra? Is he trying to give him a hard time? No, he's trying to deliver him of pride. He wants to release Indra of pride, which is the greatest obstacle in our spiritual advancement. Pride. It's too big a topic to discuss now. But it's a huge topic. Almost everything that happens in our life is tinged with pride. Almost everything. So he wanted to cut down Indra's pride. And all of Krishna's pastimes are like that. They're to cut various anarthas out of our consciousness. And this one particularly is to cut practically the king of anarthas, pride. To cut that out. So that's one thing. Another thing was because why, Krishna was thinking, why on earth are my eternal associates engaged in demigod worship? What is this? Don't you know, Bhoktaram Yagatapasam? By serving the root of a tree, all the branches are fully nourished. Don't you know that? Why worship or why water the branches independently? Just water the root. The branches, leaves, or feed the stomach. You don't need to feed the fingers. You can use the fingers to feed the stomach, but you don't use the stomach to, the stomach feeds the fingers, but you don't, try to eat the food with the fingers and expect the stomach to be nourished. It won't work like that. And the stomach is the center. Krishna is the center. He's the all yagas, Yaga by Vishnu, are meant for his pleasure. And in Bhagavad Gita we see people who worship the demigods, they say they're doing it, but they're doing it in the wrong way. They don't understand. The demigods cannot fulfill any kind of promise without Krishna's will. They're simply instruments of the Lord's will. They're instruments. Turn those lights off. Who dared turn those lights on? What would Indra say if you tried to turn those lights on? He might get very angry. So Krishna, in this way, he had many purposes, many others. He wanted to have some real fun as well. He wanted to perform a pastime which would be immemorial. Just like today, probably amongst Krishna's pastimes, all of them, this is one of the most famous, isn't it? Govardhan Puja, isn't it? You see so many places, pictures of Govardhan, Krishna lifting. The main one is it's lifting up Govardhan Hill, right? That's the main picture you see in this pastime. And that's one of the most famous of all. Another angle of this, Krishna is supposed to be, everyone should know that, not supposed to be, he is, the enjoyer of all sacrifices. Even if they're offered to the demigods, they're supposed to offer them to him also. They're not supposed to keep it to themselves. That becomes a problem. Then Krishna has to act, which he's doing here. Indra's starting to think they're for me, and not on behalf of Krishna. As soon as we start thinking they're mine, then the problem begins. And he's also Lokamaheshwaram. Sarva Lokamaheshwaram is the Lord of everything. Indra is thinking, I am the Lord. I am the universal king of the demigods. which means I am, basically speaking, the master of the universe, more or less. And there's Brahma and a few others up there, but I've got the main role here. Who do they think they are? They think this belongs to them? No, it belongs to me. I'm the controller. They do not. Krishna is the proprietor of everything. We have to understand that, whether it's Vrindavan or not Vrindavan. Everything belongs to him. And he's Sarvaloka Maheshwaram, he's also Suridam Sarvabhutanam. He's the friend of everyone. So in this pastime, he really demonstrates he's the friend of everyone. At least those who are in this pastime. He really demonstrates he's the best friend of Indra because he's helping him to become free of the cause of his suffering. And Sarabi is fulfilling her desires. He's delivering amazing pastime which everybody can hear now. The most blissful pastime which purifies our hearts just thinking about it and endears us to Krishna and helps us to remember Krishna. So in so many ways, we ought to speak of the residents of Vrindavan, the cows and the gopas and the gopis and everybody else, how blissful this pastime is. So he's bestowing supreme bliss through this pastime. He puts an end to unlimited sufferings and bestows supreme bliss on everyone. And we can also taste a little bit of that if we absorb ourselves in the Govardhan festival or hearing about the Govardhan festival. We'll move on to another pranam. All together. Govardhano jayati shaila kuladi rajo yogo pikabi rutito haridasa varya krishnena shakra makabanga kritarchitoya saptahamasya karapadma taletya vatsat. Can't read a word, can you? Another word. Huh? You can? You got good eyesight. I can't read a word. If I had to read that, I can't read one single word on that screen. Just a total blur. I don't need to. I've got my computer. You need. Can any of you read it? Put your hands up if you can read it. You probably know it off by heart. Boy, you got super eyesight, I must say. If we ever do something again, we'll have to be prepared. The problem is my computer, it's actually, anyway, we have to glorify Microsoft. We can't blame them because we're going to
make it happen.
Yeah, what are you going to do?
The lights.
What's that going to do?
Focus lights.
What on? I don't know, they have to look at the screen, not me. Take it away, take it, don't put it on, please. Oh no, take it away. Take it away. I won't be able to. Huh? No, we have to focus on the screen when we're looking at a verse here. All glorious to Govardhan, the emperor of lordly mountains. He's the emperor. You know how Govardhan came to Vrindavan? How did he come? He came because of Radharani. Huh? Radharani said she would not appear unless Govardhan's there. So that's the real reason. Huh? Maybe another reason. There's a practical reason, external reason. Huh? Once upon a time, the great sage Pulasya Muni, he was flying through the sky. He's a mystic yogi, he flies through the sky. I bet you'd all like to fly through the sky. No more bills to go to India. You don't have to pay Delta Airlines or wherever you fly on. You can go direct. Just jump out your window and whoo, Vrindavan. Cheep. No visa, no problem. And then fly back, nobody knows. And you carry all the paraphernalia you want back here to the temple. Haribol. Amazing. Pulasya Muni, no ordinary sage. So he was flying over the western mountain range, western Himalayas, and he saw this very beautiful mountain. So he came down to the earth, and there. This beautiful mountain. Actually, this little mountain, it wasn't that big, but it was very beautiful, was the son of Dronachal. Dronachal was a very big mountain. So, what can he do? He very much was attached to this mountain. So he asked Dronachal if he could please have that mountain. Dronachal was devastated, but Govardhan agreed, because Govardhan was the offspring of Dronachal. Amazing enough, mountains have children. So Dronachal had a baby named Govardhan, and Pulasya Muni wanted to have this mountain, so Govardhan agreed on one condition, because Pulasya Muni wanted him to take him to Kashi so that he could meditate there near Govardhan or on Govardhan. He wanted to take him to Kashi, but Govardhan said, well, okay, but wherever you put me down, I'm not going to move from that spot. So Pulasya thought, no problem, I'm not going to put you down anywhere except for Kashi. No way. So everything was agreed, much to the distress. We see this often happens with the Lord, you know, whether it's Dasarath or whoever it is, Mother Sachi, oftentimes puts their devotees into separation. So he left with Pulasya Muni, Pulasya Muni was carrying him on his hand, and flying through the air. A very powerful yogi. Govardhan was not very light. He was more than 10 kilos. He was very heavy. I don't know how heavy he was, but very big. And so he carried him through the air, and by the arrangement of Krishna, through his potencies, Yogamaya potencies, somehow or another, Pulasya Muni could not control the urge of nature any longer. It was impossible. You ever had that experience? You just cannot control yourself any longer. And he couldn't do it. When Krishna saw Vrindavan, he made this, the tract of land, bridge. Then he made Pulasya Muni incapable of going any further. He had to come down to do his business. So Pulasya Muni came down. He had to place the mountain on the ground. He was bewildered by Krishna and his potencies. And he placed the mountain on the ground, went to do his thing, came back to pick up the mountain. Govardhan, not moving an inch. You promised I will not move from this spot. So Pulasya Muni was quite angry, and of course he cursed the mountain. From now on you will sink into the planet, into the earth, one mustard seed every day or something like that. Whatever that was. It was very high, maybe 50 miles high in those days. Hard to imagine. A very high and very big mountain, although very small in terms of universal size, nonetheless very big. So he had to leave him there, and so Govardhan stayed there in Vrindavan. He's the emperor. Why is the emperor? We'll hear about that in a minute. Of all the great mountains. The Lord's dear gopis called him the best servant of Ari, because he provided everything. They didn't just have water and flowers and fruits and grass and everything, shades and nice platforms to lie and sit on, and nice caves to go into, all other sorts of things, herbs and jewels and everything came from Govardhan. But they also had most amazing pastimes, confidential pastimes on Govardhan and around Govardhan, amongst the gopis and Krishna especially. Many of the very most intimate pastimes take place at Govardhan. Of course, also there at the foot of Govardhan here is Radhakund and Shyamakund, so the most holy place of holy places. And as far as the best devotee, he's providing all these facilities, nice groves, nice water, nice lakes, nice kunds, nice everything, kunjas and so on and so forth, for the pleasure of the gopis in their relationship with Krishna. Lord Krishna disrupted the sacrifice for worship of Indra to worship Govardhan instead, and then the hero resided for a week on the Lord's lotus palm. Now this is an interesting thing. Most of the paintings we see are Krishna holding Govardhan on the little finger of his left hand. Now I'd be interested if any of you pandits know which scripture says that. The Mahabharata says the hand, Bhagavatam says the hand, Harivamsa says the hand, Padma Purana says the hand, Brihad Bhagavatamrita says the hand. Haribol. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur in his Sarata Darshini says the hand. Where is it said the little finger? But all the paintings show the little finger. Huh? I can't hear a word, there's curtains drawn. Huh? Is it what?
Garga Samhita.
No, that says the hand. Garga Samhita says the hand. I don't know any scripture. I only read it once in a commentary, Srila Prabhupada's commentary. But everywhere you see it in the paintings. Everything's possible for Krishna. He can do both. Nothing's wrong. One comment said he picks up with the hand and puts it on the little finger. He can do anything he likes. He can spin it around on his little finger if he wants. He doesn't even have to be on his finger. Krishna said it's that Govardhan Hill is so light, it's not a problem. Govardhan Hill can float on its own. It's not like Ramchandra floated mountains on the ocean. What's the difficulty? Govardhan wanted to float, you know that. He wanted to go with Hanuman and float on the ocean to Lanka. He was devastated when he couldn't go with Hanuman to Lanka, or to the ocean to Lanka. And then, of course, he was promised, the Lord promised him at that point, next lifetime, you will be able to, all your desires will be fulfilled. You will be the center of my pastimes. So Govardhan was very happy to get, he was always waiting for this, and now all of his desires were fulfilled. So he was only too happy to go up into the air and serve Krishna in this way, and serve all the residents of Vrindavan in this way, by being a parasol. Not a parasite like we are, a parasol, a servant of the Lord. And so in this way, whatever it was, what difference does it make? We may argue, but it is a fact, as it says here, this is from Bhagavatam, which is on the Lord's palm, lotus left palm. Saptaham eva chuta hasta pankaje. Next verse, if you got it. Bringayamanam palamula kandarai samsevyamanam atmavindakair govardhan grim shivasa namami. I don't know if that's the verse on the board or not. I can't see it, so I can't comment. My computer is a yellow color, that's a green color. The previous slide was green, but maybe this comes up in green on there. I offer my prostrated obeisances to the Govardhan hill, who was kept for 7 days in the lotus hand of the infallible Lord Sri Krishna. So I haven't got the references. I think this is Garga Samhita, but not sure. And who served him with his own paraphernalia, including swarms of black bees and an abundance of delicious fruits and roots. So we're going to have to move forward real quick here. I can't comment on that. Hantaya Madrir Abala Haridasa Varyo. Another time. The best of devotees. Yad Rama Krishna Charanas Parasha Pramodaha Manam Tanoti Sahago Ganayas Tayoya Panya Suyavasa Kandara Kandamulai. Of all the devotees, this Govardhan hill is the best. O friends, for Krishna and Balaram, along with their cows and cowherd friends, this hill supplies all necessities, caves, fruits, flowers, vegetables, water for drinking, and very soft grass. In this way, the hill offers respects to the Lord, being touched by the lotus feet of Krishna and Balaram. Govardhan hill appears very jubilant. He's in ecstasy to have the service, all the lotus feet, the dust of the devotees' feet, their presence, their love, everything he's experiencing it, and so ecstatically. And we won't be able to read this. There's no time. We've only got 10 minutes left. We have to move on, unfortunately. And we move on. We'll leave that part till later. You can turn off the screen if you want. There'll be another show later at about 7:15 or 10 to 7. We'll be going on, but you won't be able to read it. That's the problem. Maybe you will. Let's see. We hope so. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Govardhan hill ki jai. So where are we now? Krishna has thwarted the Indra puja. And Indra, very happily residing in heaven, waiting for his Indra puja, gets knowledge that somebody has interfered with his puja. What dare they? Who is interfering with my worship? My lord, I think it was Narada Muni brought the news, as usual. They didn't need, WhatsApp and internet in those days. They had Narada Muni. He was much more accurate and more effective than any of the modern social media. So he delivered the news to Indra. What is this? Who does that puffed up boy think he is? Just says he got a few cows. He thinks he's the Lord of the universe or something? Who is this boy? How dare he interfere like this? Those stupid coward men listening to an ignorant kid. What is this? They have to be taught a severe lesson, right? They deserve to be taught a lesson. They're puffed up, proud of their butter and milk and what have you. I'll teach them a lesson. Ha! They won't do this mischief ever again, and neither will anyone else dare do it either. Don't you dare try. Samvartaka! Come here! He called the clouds of universal destruction. I have a mission for you. It's not time for universal destruction yet. But we have to unleash that same force right now on those puffed up residents of Vrindavan. Don't worry, I will come with you on my Airavata, my advent. We will go together with all the wind gods and all other kinds of fierce storm clouds. We will all proceed to Vrindavan. and we will devastate Vrindavan. And they all got together. Amazing, powerful clouds gathered, huge clouds, practically covering half the universe, swarmed together and made their way towards Vrindavan. Very quickly the sky went black practically. The clouds were so thick, the wind was so strong. And I love to read, I'll just quickly read it, it won't take 2 minutes. I'll read a little comment here. This is from, let me see what this is from. Which one is it? Here we go. Where's it gone? Where have you gone? He's disappeared. I won't be able to read it for some reason, it's not here. Here it is. No, it's not. Yes, it is. When from my mouth, this is Narada Muni speaking. This is from Garga Samhita. When from my mouth he heard that his sacrifice had been stopped and a festival of Govardhan hill was performed in its place, Indra became furious. Unleashing the Samvartaka clouds used at the time of cosmic destruction, Indra sent them to destroy Braj. The clouds thundered with anger. They were many wonderful colors, some black, some yellow, some green, some the color of an Indragopa insect, some the color of camphor, some the color of blue lotuses. Furious, they showered raindrops as big as elephants. Whew. Be careful when you're making your Tulsi house, greenhouse. Many times our greenhouses have been broken by hailstones. Make sure the glass is very strong. What to speak of elephants. Raindrops as big as elephants and thunderbolts as big as elephants' trunks. Big as mountain peaks, millions of rocks fell. The wind threw away many trees and houses. O King of Mithila, the earth was filled with ferocious, terrifying and devastating sounds of thunder. They said the whole universe was rocking. All the mountains were shaking all over the universe. Loka, Sumera, they're all shaking. What the heck's going on around here? Everywhere, the whole universe was shaking. The Earth planet was just like devastated. It wasn't just Vrindavan, it was just like wham. The entire universe with the 7 planetary systems and the expanses of outer space echoed with the sounds of thunder. The elephants holding the directions trembled. The stars fell to the circle of the earth, the earthly plane. This was no ordinary storm. You may have your cyclones here. You call them cyclones? No. Hurricanes, huh? Hurricanes? Call them hurricanes? Yes? You may have a powerful hurricane, but it's nothing compared to this. It's just a little, like a poof. Incomparable. This is like unbelievable. And as you may well know, all the residents of Vrindavan, particularly the attacked Vrindavan, all the residents of Vrindavan took shelter. We have to speed it up, took shelter of Krishna. Save us, save us! The cows, the bulls, everyone. Shelter. Krishna said, don't worry. Nothing to worry about. He knew this is Indra's trying to take revenge. Don't worry. Follow me. And they went off to Govardhan. And it said that Yogamaya, one of her potencies, stopped all the rain falling over Krishna and all the residents of Vrindavan. They didn't get any rain on them. Everywhere else the rain's coming down like elephants. Hailstones the size of elephants. Ice blocks, massive ice blocks were crashing down. It wasn't just rain. Tremendous storm. And then they got to Govardhan, and as you know, Krishna then, just with the left hand, just picked up Govardhan, just like a child picks up a mushroom. Okay, everyone inside. Countless living entities entered in. All the cows, the bulls, all the residents of Vrindavan, all entered there for 7 days. Imagine, they were all having day and night the personal darshan of Krishna, fulfilling all their desires, every one of them. No one thought about eating and sleeping. They were completely satisfied just being with Krishna. This is the solution to all problems. Be with Krishna. Govardhan Hill is not an ordinary place. It wasn't like they had electric lights down there or some heating systems. It's automatically everything was adjusted. It was the spiritual world. Everything was there. Everything anyone needed was there. It was completely satisfying to everyone. And usually when you're under a mountain, it's not a very charming place. Mystical maybe, but not very charming. But this was the most charming place. It was sweeter than the sweetest. So they stayed there for 7 days under that great mountain. Indra was going mad, trying to smash everything. Even they said the dogs, the goats, and all the other animals climbed up on Govardhan Hill. And they went so high, Govardhan was so big, it went above the clouds, which covered almost half the universe. It expanded phenomenally to give everyone shelter, and everyone was enjoying themselves like they never enjoyed themselves before under Govardhan Hill. Completely secure. And Krishna was effortlessly holding the hill, and everyone's worshipping the Lord by just looking at him and just absorbed in him in bliss. And so after 7 days, as you know, Indra got quite frustrated, realizing that nothing was happening. In fact, rocks had fallen off all the hill. When Krishna picked up, all the many rocks rolled off and formed like a wall around Govardhan, so no water could enter in. And Anantashesh was spinning around, drying any water that happened to get in and just to disturb anything. So all in all, it was a great pastime and a good lesson. We may try to think we can do things separate from Krishna, but it doesn't work. We take shelter of Krishna. Krishna will provide. He's the friend of everyone. He's the provider, provided everything. He's the proprietor, and he's the enjoyer of everything. So after 7 days, Indra called the clouds back. We failed, my Lord, we failed. We couldn't do it. Indra was totally distraught, devastated, depressed, and scared stiff. What the heck will happen next? He had no idea. He knew he made a big mistake, just like Lord Brahma made a mistake when he tried to pinch the calves and the cow boys. He realized his mistake. Indra realized his mistake, but what to do now? There he is in heaven. The cow boys and the calves and the gopas and gopis have all come out the hill. They're all gone back to their places. They're enjoying themselves again. Everything's dried up very quickly, and Anantashesh dries everything up. Everything's fine. Back to life, goes back to normal. And Indra's in a devastated condition. So humiliated. He didn't know what to do. His Guru Maharaj said, go and talk to Lord Brahma. He did something naughty also. He might be able to help you. Lord Brahma said, no, I'm sorry. I'd like to help you, but I stole a few calves and cow boys, but you tried to kill them. There's a big difference. I don't know what you've got to go personally to Krishna, apologize. Maybe, but Krishna is not going to be interested in seeing you. You are an offender to his devotees. The Lord can tolerate anything on his own account, but not something to his devotees. You try to harm his devotees. That is intolerable to Krishna. You can't go there and do that. Maybe if you take Sarabhi with you, she is very dear to the Lord. Maybe by her grace, Krishna will listen. So he did. Sarabhi agreed to go. She didn't want to see the face of Indra. She was equally horrified by what he did. But she agreed on Lord Brahma's request, and they all went off to Braj. And of course, as you know, Indra then submitted himself. Krishna accepted the prayers of Indra, and all was resolved. Now this pastime goes over a period of about 10 or 11 days, so it's not just a one-day event. Today is just the Anakut. It's just the Govardhan puja. We'll do a little bit more of that later on. But that was about it. So we've hit the time frame, and we have to end there. What a shame. We hardly started. But that's life. Do you get the gist of it, I hope? Learn your lessons. Don't imitate Indra. Take shelter of Krishna. Offer everything you do to Krishna. Don't get hung up with all these deviations. Don't think that we're the doer, the enjoyer, the proprietor, or the friend of everyone. Krishna's a friend of everyone. Try to give Krishna's association to everyone. Shelter under Govardhan Hill, and they'll be protected from the rains of Maya. Otherwise they'll be devastated by Indra's rain or material energy. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Govardhan puja ki jai. Go Premanande. Hari Hari Bo. Glory